A cry from the forest that should disturb a nation, but yet it seems like everywhere is silent. 2 weeks after the adoption of teachers and students from a school in the local government of Oriire State, a disturbing video have emerged from captivity. In the video, the principal of the community high school emotionally appealed to authorities to pursue dialogue rather than force in efforts to rescue them or to secure their release. According to her account, an attempted rescue operation allegedly angered the adopters, worsening conditions for those being held and resulting in the reported picking of another captive to be unalive. While some aspects of this claim remain difficult to independently verify, the video itself reveals something profoundly troubling. Educators and school children are once again at the center of Nigeria's insecurity crisis. Beyond the immediate tragedy lies a deeper national question. What does it say about a country when teachers and students become bargaining chip in negotiation between criminals and the states? The answer should concern every Nigerian. Because this story is no longer just about Oriire, it is about the future of education, governance, security, and the value we place on human life. The unthinkable has become familiar. There was a time when a kidnapping of school children would have triggered national shock, emergency meetings, non-stop media coverage, and sustained public outrage. Today, many Nigerians hear reports of another school adoption and simply move on to the next headline. That may be the most frightening development of all. When the society becomes accustomed to horror, it begins to lose part of its humanity. Students are supposed to worry about examinations, friendship, and future careers. Teachers are supposed to worry about lesson plans and educational outcomes. Neither should be worried about surviving captivity in the forest. Yet across parts of Nigeria, education increasingly carries security risks that were once unimaginable. Schools have become targets. Teachers have become vulnerable. Parents have become fearful. Children have become symbols of security crisis they did not create. The human cost beyond the headline statistics can never fully capture the suffering caused by adoptions. Behind every kidnapping headlines are human beings living through unimaginable trauma. The adopted students are likely experiencing fear, uncertainty, hunger, exhaustion, and psychological distress. Teachers who dedicated their lives to educating children are now struggling to protect themselves and their pupils. Parents wake up each morning uncertain whether their children are alive. Siblings wait for phone calls. Entire community live in anxiety. Even if victims are eventually released, many carry emotional scars for years. Research from hostage situations around the world shows that survivors often experience anxiety disorder, depression, post-traumatic stress symptoms, sleep disturbances, and difficulties rebuilding trust. The consequences do not end with freedom. They often continue long after captivity ends. Negotiation or force. The difficult dilemma, the emotional appeal made by the principal, raises one of the most difficult questions government face anywhere in the world. Should authority negotiate with kidnappers or should they use force? There are no easy answers. Negotiation may save lives in the short term. Critics argue that paying ransom or making concessions can encourage future kidnappings by creating financial incentives for criminal groups. On the other hand, military rescue operation carries enormous risks. Hostage rescue missions are among the most complex security operations in the world. A single mistake can trigger panic, retaliation, or loss of lives. This is not unique to Nigeria. Countries across the world have struggled with similar dilemmas. Governments often face a painful choice between refusing to negotiate with criminals and risking lives through military intervention. The reality is that every hostage situation is different. What works in one case will fail in another. This is why intelligence gathering, careful planning, professional crisis management, and preserving human lives must remain central consideration. The ultimate objective should not be public relations victories or display of strength. It should be bringing victims home alive. When rescue attempts go wrong, if the claims made in the video are accurate, they highlight the devastating consequences that can follow unsuccessful interventions. Hostage situations are highly sensitive environments. Adopters may react unpredictably when they believe authorities are closing in. This is why crisis negotiators, intelligence officers, psychologists, and specialized tactical units often work together in many countries. The lesson is not that government should never use force. Rather, it is that force alone is rarely sufficient. Successful hostage recovery depends on intelligence superiority, patience, planning, and the understanding of the psychology of captors. Every decision carries risk, but the preservation of innocent lives must remain the highest priority. The growing vulnerability of Nigerian schools. Perhaps the most alarming aspect of this story is that it involves schools. Education should be one of the safest spaces in any society. Instead, many schools in vulnerable communities have become soft targets. The implications are enormous. Parents may withdraw children from school, teachers may avoid rural posting, educational investment may decline, attendance rate may fall, learning outcome may worsen. The result is not merely a security problem, it becomes a development crisis. A nation cannot build its future when classrooms are associated with danger. Children who fear attending schools are less likely to become the skilled workforce needed for economic growth. Why does public outreach fail so quickly? One uncomfortable question continues to emerge after every major kidnapping. Why does national outreach disappear so quickly? Part of the answer may be fatigue. Nigerians have been exposed to years of reports involving kidnappings, terrorism, banditry, communal violence, and criminal attacks. Constant exposure can create psychological numbness. People become overwhelmed. They stop reacting with the same intensity. Another reason may be competition for attention. New controversies, political disputes, celebrity stories, and social media trends often replace serious national conversations. Within days, the victim remains in captivity. The public moves on. The cycle repeats. This pattern should concern everyone, because silence can unintentionally communicate acceptance, and acceptance creates space for crisis to continue. Where are the influential voices? Many citizens increasingly ask difficult questions. Where are the celebrities? Where are the prominent pastors and imams? Where are the traditional rulers? Where are the business leaders? Where are the influential social media figures? To be fair, some public figures do speak out. Some advocate privately. Some support victims behind the scenes. Others may avoid commenting until facts are fully established. Yet, many Nigerians perceive a gap between the scale of the tragedy and the level of national mobilization. When famous individuals amplify issues, government often face greater public scrutiny. Media attention increases, international awareness grows, pressure mounts for action. Silence, whether intentional or not, can leave affected families feeling isolated. For parents waiting for news about adopted children, public attention is not merely symbolic, it can become a source of hope. What happens when society becomes desensitized? One of the greatest dangers facing Nigeria is not only insecurity itself, it is becoming accustomed to insecurity. History shows that society can gradually adapt to abnormal conditions. The extraordinary becomes ordinary. The unacceptable becomes tolerated. The shocking becomes routine. When citizens stop expecting safety, accountability weakens. When violence becomes normalized, urgency disappears. When kidnappings become common headlines, policymakers will face less pressure to deliver lasting solutions. This is a dangerous path because every normalized tragedy creates room for the next one. The economic cost of fear, insecurity, does not only destroy lives, it destroys opportunity. Communities affected by kidnappings often experience reduced economic activity. Farmers avoid farmland, businesses relocate or close. Investors seek safer environments. Property value decline. Educational institutions struggle to attract students and staff. Local economics suffer. Over time, insecurity creates a vicious cycle. Economic hardship can contribute to instability. Instability discourages investment. The resulting poverty can create conditions that criminal groups exploit. Breaking the cycle requires more than security operations. It requires economic development, governance reforms, and community resilience. Lessons from other countries that have faced hostage crisis often highlight several common lessons. First, prevention is more effective than response. Protecting vulnerable institutions is cheaper and safer than rescuing victims after abductions occur. Second, intelligence is critical. Many successful interventions depend on actionable information rather than overwhelming force. Third, community trust matters. Citizens are more likely to share information when they trust security institutions. Fourth, hostage situations require specialized expertise. Negotiation, psychology, intelligence analysis, and tactical operations must work together. Finally, government must communicate transparently with affected families while balancing operational security. Trust can collapse when families feel excluded or abandoned. What must change? Several urgent priorities emerge from this strategy. Strengthen school security infrastructure, particularly in vulnerable rural areas. Improve intelligence gathering and early warning system. Enhance cooperation between federal, state, and local authorities. Invest in rapid response capability and specialized hostage management units. Support victims and survivors with psychological care and rehabilitation services. Ensure greater accountability for security outcomes. Encourage responsible public advocacy from influential voices across society. Most important, place the protection of citizens, especially children, at the center of national security planning, because a country that cannot protect its classroom is struggling to protect its future. The test of national conscience, the adoption of teachers and students in Oriire, is more than another security incident. It is a test of national conscience. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about governance, public attention, leadership, and collective responsibility. Behind every statistic is a child whose education has been interrupted, a teacher whose education or dedication has been met with terror, a parent living through unbearable uncertainty. The greatest danger is not only the kidnappers continuing to operate, it is that the society gradually learns to live with their existence. The nation reveals its priority through what it refuses to tolerate. And if the kidnapping of teachers and school children is no longer provokes sustained outrage, then the question Nigeria must ask itself is not merely how to defeat insecurity, but whether it still fully recognizes the value of the lives, dreams, and future that insecurity continues to steal. I rest my case on this analysis. Do well to join the next one. Thank you for sticking around. Have a pleasant day.